We begin the night with breaking news. Former Arkansas Governor Jim Guy Tucker has died. Tucker took over as governor in December of 1991 after Bill Clinton resigned to accept his role as U.S. president. He served the rest of President Clinton's term as governor and then was reelected to a 4-year term in 1994. He was forced to leave the governor's desk in '96 after being convicted of misapplying funds as part of the Whitewater investigation. He was 81 years of age. We'll have much more on his life and the legacy he leaves behind tonight on your 5 News at 10. Also breaking right now at 6, a big backup on I-40 this evening. Crews responding to a car fire. Video from 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer right there, who was headed back to the newsroom tonight. This happening between the I-540 and 49 interchange between Alma and Van Buren in the eastbound lane. So far, it's not clear if anybody was hurt. Crews, though, do have that fire put out. Tonight, we continue to follow a proposed bill in the Arkansas legislature that looks to prohibit some restrictions on the regulation of short-term rentals. 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi is in the newsroom now with more on the proposed bill and the struggle between property rights and city responsibility. Jacob?
Yeah, Darren, an act to prohibit certain restrictions on short-term rentals passed the House City, County, and Local Affairs Committee and is now heading to the House floor. And while some support the freedoms this bill could give property owners, others are worried that a broad state law such as this will not take into consideration the specific needs of their own cities.
There's a myriad of reasons that people may be distressed by the way somebody uses their own property, but frankly, that's none of their business.
The Supreme Court has said many times it's not some sort of absolute right. You can do anything you want to with your property because your neighboring property owners have rights too.
Arkansas House Bill 1445 says local governments shall not enact or enforce an ordinance that prohibits or limits the use of a property as a short-term rental. It is now one step closer to a full House vote. Fayetteville City Attorney Kit Williams says the city's $475 short-term rental allowance helps protect the rights of all citizens and adds that if passed, the bill would tie the hands of local municipalities.
This one simply says that the cities basically can do nothing and that someone that wants to turn their house into a short-term rental, almost a mini hotel, then they can do it wherever they want to do it. And if their next door neighbors are upset by that, if it lowers the value of the property value next door, that's just tough.
The bill, sponsored by State Representative Britt McKenzie and State Senator Joshua Bryan of Northwest Arkansas, does provide some rules, such as giving local governments the right to suspend a short-term rental owner's application if it violates the same local ordinance 3 or more times in 180 days. And local attorney and real estate broker Garrett Ham says the proposed bill is a good balance.
If you are intentionally creating a party house or something to that effect, that you should be able to lose your right to operate a short-term rental, I think that's completely reasonable. But for good actors, people who monitor their guests, have noise detectors, take precautions, making sure that their rights are protected is important.
Williams, however, disagrees, saying you can't prosecute a homeowner for a renter's violation.
The owner will say, not my fault, I didn't do it. So these attempts to say that there's ways that this statute still allows cities to do anything to protect their neighborhoods is simply wrong.
As the bill progresses, property rights,
the way they use their property, as long as they're not hurting anybody, is the way they're using their property, and that's their right.
and city responsibility.
The city council worked very hard to have a fair balance between the people that wanted to operate and rent out short-term rentals and the neighbors who wanted to preserve their neighborhood quality of life.
Are thrown in the center.
Now, Garrett Ham is representing the couple suing the city of Fayetteville over their short-term rental ordinance. He says restrictions on the economic use of one's property violates the U.S. Constitution. We will continue to follow this bill as it moves through the legislature. Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
All right, Jacob, thanks. The Arkansas House, meanwhile, has passed a bill that would force Arkansas public schools to have a policy that keeps cell phones out of the classroom. The House approved the bill with 98 votes for it. It now heads back to the Senate to approve amendments added in the House that provides exceptions for school-issued devices like tablets. Well, the sunshine returned today, but not before some flurries, or what we thought were flurries this morning. Got reports of light snow like this across northwest Arkansas this morning. Temperatures were cold enough, Joshua, this really isn't classified as a flurry.
Yeah, you may have looked outside and you went, well, that's a little confusing. It's sunny outside, but it's this phenomenon that we call diamond dust. It's when, the water vapor that's a gas undergoes a process that turns it into a solid, and then you start to get those frozen particles in the air. It's almost like flurries, but when you look at them on the surface, they're almost transparent. They're just shiny in the light, so that's when you get diamond dust. Right now, we don't have any sort of activity like that across the region. The only thing we're talking about is the cold. It's cold across northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. It's going to continue to do that this evening, so if you have plans, make sure that you grab that jacket, bundle up. It is going to be cool. Feels like temperatures in the teens for northwest Arkansas, a little bit warmer in the River Valley. We're talking lower 20s for the next several hours. The next thing that we're going to be talking about, our next winter weather impact, potentially later in the forecast. We'll have more information, on the early week system that's coming up, and rain chances Friday into Saturday. All that and more coming up.
All right, Joshua, thanks. New at 6, more than 400 new jobs coming to Springdale as a Washington-based manufacturing company moves in. 5 News reporter Kayla Davis here now to tell us more about these new plans.
Etronic, a clean tech manufacturing company, is setting up shop in Springdale. The company plans to invest more than $28 million into a new facility over the next 5 years. And the Springdale Chamber of Commerce expects the 300,000 square foot site should be up and running by July.
An existing company in Fayetteville had some issues with their building, and they were looking at either relocating in northwest Arkansas or possibly leaving the state, which is how we were able to engage the state of Arkansas in a big way to incentivize this company to not leave Arkansas, but to stay in northwest Arkansas, in particular to come to Springdale.
And with the new facility, hundreds of job opportunities.
We're looking at about 400 jobs over a 5-year period, and that's a mix of direct labor and professional staff, and some executive staffs as well too. So we're very excited to grow our presence here in northwest Arkansas.
The news comes after the Springdale poultry manufacturing company Cargill laid off 1,000 workers just weeks ago.
We're continuing to move forward. Our unemployment is the lowest in the state, and job creation continues to rise. So hopefully with everybody's help and some time before those folks actually have to lose their jobs, there'll be plenty of opportunities for them to choose from to find new employment.
Keytronic says their priority will be working with community resources to recruit and train.
There's a variety of positions available, both from professional administrative staff and assembly staff, warehousing staff, and quality and engineering technicians, manufacturing, completely across the board. It'll be an excellent opportunity to tap into the best of the best talent in the area here.
In Springdale, covering news where you live, Kayla Davis, 5 News.